Have you ever heard of somebody who abducts little boys?
Room below's got some horrible smells.
We don't want to go in there.
What are you doing?
Complimentary room service. There is that.
Hello and welcome to another Dollar Store Drive-In. I'm your host, Laura.
I'm Joel.
And we're the Newly Deads. If this is your first time watching us, welcome. This is a half-hour chat show where we discuss a movie that we've watched. If this is not your first time watching, welcome back. This is also a podcast that we turn the audio version of this into, so you can also check us out on Spotify. That is where I upload it to every week. And if you're listening to this, this is a visual show, so we highly recommend that you come and find us on our website, which is thenewlydeads.com. You can find all the information for all the links and all the places that you can find our show. We do air it usually on Wednesday nights. You can find that on YouTube, but that is usually linked through our website. So we highly recommend doing that because, like I said, this is a visual show. Mr. Newly Dead does a lot of editing. So there's a lot of footage and lots of sounds and different things. And right now he's making little hand gestures. So highly recommend to go there. Besides this show, when you go to our website, you can find information about different things that Mr. Newly Dead has written about. He does a blog every Sunday, where it's usually every Sunday, where he puts out information about movies that he has reviewed. So not just the movies that we are watching and talking with you fine folks about, but you can also find the information that he is putting out there on all the other things. He is a huge encyclopedia of knowledge and has a lot to say. So check that out. We also do occasionally some events, so you can find that information out there as well. That being said, if you do want to contact us for any reason, you can also email us at contact@thenewlydeads.com. If you've got information about the show, you want to send us something, we love hearing from people. So please feel free to do that if you want to.
And we actually got a piece of fan art.
We did.
Unsolicited, just out of the blue, from David Dunlap, who is a well-known, well-respected artist who has had a long history and career, but has been doing a lot of like horror hosts and things like that over the past, I'm not even sure how long, but just randomly popped up in our feed, and we are very thankful. So thankful for that.
Yes,
thank you for that.
Thank you so much. It was beautiful, and we really appreciate it, and I'm sure you'll probably show it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That being said, this is a reason why we're here is to talk about a movie that we watched. This week, we did watch a movie called The Watcher. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about the different criteria that we have for the show in order to keep this on a normal format and keep it so that way we're kind of still following the same, I don't know, like not script, but same information every single week. So we're watching a movie that is usually under $5. Not usually, it's always under $5. It needs to be a horror, thriller, or sci-fi genre movie, and it needs to be a movie that neither of us have ever seen. So The Watcher is what we watched this week, and I'm going to read the synopsis if that's cool.
Boy.
It's a long one, and luckily I've got my glasses on today, so I have my bifocals. So my little eyeballs are getting old. Well, let me go ahead and do that. I forgot to. So this says, strap yourself in and enjoy the ride. There's a little synopsis kind of I don't know, blurb or whatever before it starts. So I'm gonna skip that part because it does talk about the actors that are in it. I know that's your deal.
My bag, baby.
Your bag. So after years of pursuing psychotic killers in Los Angeles, FBI agent Joel Campbell wants out. And now his nemesis, serial killer David Alan Griffin, has tracked him all the way to Chicago just to torment him. For each murder, Griffin sends Campbell a photograph of his intended victim and dares him to find her before he strikes again. Now, with every tick of the clock and amidst pulse-pounding action, this stone-cold killer turns up the heat. This game of cat and mouse will have you gasping for breath from its first terrifying frame until its final explosive conclusion. The Watcher. All right. Yeah, and this is an older film, so it's got, you can watch it in anamorphic widescreen if you want to, or you can watch it in regular format back in the day with your box screen. Widescreen on the front there. Where did we get this one from?
From the year 2000.
It is from the year 2000.
We got that at Hidden Treasure.
All right. Yeah, Hidden Treasures. We usually try to find movies out in the wild if we can, and Hidden Treasures is a nice antique mall, I guess is what you could call it, here in the Rockford, Illinois, Machesney Park, Loves Park area. It is it's a huge antique mall. It's in one of those like old
Department store.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you. And there's like hundreds and hundreds of vendors in there. You could spend hours in there, and we usually do.
We do.
There. Yeah. So
this is definitely an older movie because all the special features were either text-based. There was the trailer for it, and there was a website that was defunct. So yeah, it's definitely an out-of-date DVD, but that's all right.
That's all right.
Classic. It's vintage.
It's vintage, that's for sure.
We have thoughts.
If you're in the area, check out Hidden Treasures. But I think it's time. It's time for us to watch the trailer, don't you think?
Yep.
Ooh, I know what I want it to be. Since it's shot in Chicago, let's do an L train.
Okay.
Can you do an L train?
We'll find out.
Just like a subway, I guess. Subway train. Boop, boop, through.
This is Chicago.
Is that what the L sounds like
No.
to you?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
It sounds like... and then,
Doors open on the left at
Pretty much.
Chicago.
Please stay clear.
yes.
Whatever.
Of the
Watch
doors
your
are
step.
closing. The doors are closing.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've been on the L,
Says
so I
stuff
don't
like
remember
that.
what it says, but
Yeah.
something
Pretty
like
much.
that.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to pause it for just a second. We'll be right back. We're going to watch the trailer with you, and then we will have some thoughts.
Lots of them.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
This man's whole life is about killing. He'll watch her for weeks. Learn her routine when she comes home, when she goes to sleep. In the morning, before the sun comes up, he can walk right up next to her.
You blame yourself for the killings.
Oh no, I blame the person who did them.
Don't you know I did it for you?
For Detective Joel Campbell, the case that never closed
His last alias was David Allen Griffin. I worked the case for 3 years in Los Angeles. We attributed at least 11 homicides to him.
is coming back to haunt him.
What's he doing in Chicago? I assume he's still strangling young women with piano wire. There's a story, a ritual that he follows. Over the years, I became part of the story. What do you think the chances are he's watching us right now?
I know your job is hard, Joel. So I'm willing to take steps to try and make things work between us. I'll send you a picture, and you can have a day to try to find it.
Perfect. Now, the killer he couldn't stop
Don't play hard to get. This will be fun.
has come calling
We have received another photograph.
for his next victim.
Do you think some of your patients might pay to come to see you because you're very pretty?
The Watcher.
We're back. and Mr. Newly Dead's got his notes out.
I do.
Put your notes away.
Aw.
I can see your notes.
Oh my. So whenever we watch a movie, we both take notes. Mrs. Newly Dead is committed to take notes on every film this year, and so far,
So good.
100%.
100%.
I
If I fall asleep.
That's right. I take notes, and it gives us basically a guideline of some sort. You can check out all the notes at the end of the year on our website. Mrs. Newly Dead collects them, so 23 and 24 are available currently. If you want to go see a little bit behind the curtain as far as what we thought.
All his cute little cartoons that he draws.
Drawings, yep. Just basically everything that is on the sheet of paper you can check out yourself, because the only people who get to see them now is us.
Yep.
So at this point, I'm going to show you what's on here, and you can describe it.
Hot chicken. You had that song in your head.
We were at a wedding this last weekend, and they played that song twice, and now it's
It's like a
stuck in my head.
dubstep song.
Yeah, it's kind of well, we won't get into that. But
Yeah, EDM kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah. And you drew a little, I'm going to call it like a robot skeleton.
I don't know.
It's got a
kinda
little
like
square head.
Minecraft skull or
It
something.
is.
I don't know.
Looks kind of like a
blocky.
creeper head.
It's square.
It is square.
But yeah,
I mean-
and incidentally, EDM and techno and stuff like that, like what'd you call it? I forgot what it was called again. Dubstep kind of thing. Sounds way different when it's not being played at a maximum volume on big bassy speakers. Way different. Just a heads up. I learned that this week. So anyway,
I didn't really draw much. I just drew a little smiley guy.
you did, and you wrote.
I wrote the Watcher. Yeah. I didn't take a lot of notes this week because I was working at the same time a little bit.
We multitask.
But I did make sure that I wrote some final thoughts at least and a couple other things. So
I got notes.
he's got lots. All right, get into it.
All right, here we go. So The Watcher is from 2000. It's currently sitting at 5.3 out of 10 on the Internet Movie Database. So it's like 50-50 with the people that watch it. This was directed by Joe Sharbanek, who did Schooled, which was a TV thing. I did the video for 311 Do You Right. He did a short film, and he's got one thing that's in pre-production currently. So from 2000, in the past 25 years, he's got a very un poquito resume.
Yeah.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it is small. So this was written by 3 people. Darcy Myers is the first one, who wrote Wind on Water. The Wedding Planner Mystery, which sounds like
a
Jennifer Lopez joint.
Yeah, or I was gonna say like a Hallmark movie, Hallmark Channel.
Funny you should say that, because the next movie on here was A Surrogate's Nightmare, which is definitely a TLC or Hallmark Channel kind of thing. This was also written by David Elliott, who wrote Nothing Sacred. Four Brothers, which is the Mark Wahlberg movie, which was kind of a big deal at the time, if I remember correctly. Something called Catacombs, which sounds like a film we should probably check out. And something that's on the shelf behind us, G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra.
Nice.
And finally, this was written by Clay Ayers, who did Sword of Honor, which sounds very swords and sandals. And he's got one thing in pre-production currently, and that's it.
Nice.
25 years, 2 things and 1 thing in pre-production. So
sometimes it takes a while to do your masterpiece.
I guess so. So this stars one James Spader, Robert California from The Office, which,
and among other things.
he was also in Sex, Lies, and Videotape, which Steven Soderbergh early film, which I'm a fan of that film. The thing that you brought up,
Stargate.
Secretary.
Oh, and Secretary.
Secretary.
Stargate.
Which is on the shelf because it was gifted to me by a friend at a job I used to work at. Gave me a stack of movies and said, "Here, I don't want these." And I'm like,
Dirty
okay.
movie.
It is a little risque.
Yeah.
He was in Mannequin. Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
And
80s classic. And it's not on my list, but Mrs. Newly Dead would like me to mention Stargate. Not the TV show, plural, not the sequels, but
I can't help it. I like Stargate.
I don't know if he was in the sequels or not. I don't think so. I think he was only in the original,
I liked it.
which I've seen once.
Watch it again.
Didn't wet my whistle, but I'll watch it
Maybe
again.
I
if you wanna
won't
watch
like it the second time.
Maybe I'll love it.
I've seen it more than once.
Oh.
I've seen it a couple times.
Yeah, we'll have to watch it at some point, I guess.
I liked it.
Then we've got Marissa Tomei, who was in the original Toxic Avenger, uncredited. I'm not even sure if her part was still in the movie. I think it was. I think it was in the weight room scene in the beginning. She was in Untamed Heart, which is a very 90s love
Oh
story.
yeah.
Ooh, boy, that is a
Christian
90s.
Slater.
And a baboon heart.
Mm-hmm.
So 90s.
Yeah.
That movie also was the first time that I watched a romantic comedy dramedy and went, wow, this is like stalking level of creepiness. Anger Management, the Jack Nicholson, I was about to say Paul Rubens. That's not right. Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler.
Very different guys, which is on the shelf back there because I love both those actors. And Only You, another 90s romantic joint with, I believe, Robert Downey Jr. I think. Then we've got one Keanu Reeves, who was in those movies called The Matrix, all 4 of those movies.
Whatever that is.
Whatever. Speed, the original, with Sandra Bullock. John Wick.
Whatever that is.
All 4 of those. And he's going to be in The Ballerina, which is coming out soon, I think. I don't think it's out yet. And a movie that I can't not mention because you'll be like, what? The Devil's Advocate.
Oh, yeah. Did
Yeah.
you say Bill and Ted's?
I did not mention the Bill and Ted trilogy.
That's kind of like his jam.
I mean,
right?
that's kind of what set him off
Started
on
him?
stardom. Actually, I would argue that River's Edge was probably the thing that kind of
Oh, I'm sure.
set him off. Or my Own Private Idaho, the Gus Van Sant film. The film, yes. And then finally, I'll mention Ernie Hudson because he's popped up on our show a few times, who was in the Chuck Norris movie, The Octagon. He was in Penitentiary 2. He was in Leviathan, which I enjoyed that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big, silly movie, but I liked it. And Airheads, again. Adam Sandler makes a return.
Oh, yeah. I forgot he was in that.
The Lone Rangers. You can't pluralize the Lone Ranger. All right. At this point, my wife turns to me and she says,
What'd you think?
well, let's start off here with the fact that it's very blatantly obvious that Keanu Reeves does not want to be in this film. I did a little research on it, and it turns out that his, I believe it was assistant, I think it was Brian, forged his name on the contract. By the time that, because Keanu read the script and didn't want to do it, by the time he realized what had happened, it was either go into litigation to try and prove that he didn't sign it, which was going to take a long time, or just do the film and, move on with his life and then whatever. But he decided to go ahead and do it rather than go through litigation, with the caveat that he couldn't tell anybody about the whole situation for 12 months after the film's release, so he couldn't hurt the film's box office. Now it's common knowledge, and I didn't know this when we started watching it. I'd heard it, but I'd forgotten that information. And it's pretty obvious his heart's not in this film.
Yeah.
He looks kind of like he's laughing through the whole thing, like he's kind of half-heartedly
bored.
Yeah. And this was right. The Matrix came out in 99 and this came out in 2000. So they were probably filmed around the same time. And
Keanu Reeves is the bad guy in this. So it's weird. I tried to purposely not read the parts that talked about Keanu Reeves. I mean, that's literally the first section here. It says Keanu Reeves ignites this action-packed, superbly crafted thriller that zooms along like a sinister video game of hunter and prey. That was Richard Roper from Ebert and Roper in the movies. They must have liked it. And then it also, talks about he's the serial killer in it. So it's right in the box.
It's pretty cliched as far as like the characters are concerned. James Spader's a burned out FBI agent whose wife was murdered by this guy or girlfriend or something. Somebody was murdered that he was tied to.
He was having an affair with her.
Oh,
that's what they actually
were
say
in a
the
relationship.
movie. Yeah.
And she gets murdered. And so he's like this burned out guy who's quit his job and he's living like a bum and he's just, just not happy at all.
Going to a therapist.
And so then this guy comes in, he's like, hey buddy, I missed you. I'm going to start killing and I'm in Chicago now. Yay.
Remember me? Yeah.
And so James Spader, of course, is thrust back into his job full force.
Yeah.
And things go from
there. Because he keeps sending him photos of the people that he's going to kill. That's what I read in the synopsis there.
And he they use modern technology to try and help track down the women before they are murdered. But
enhance.
Exactly.
They enhance the photos.
They did quite a bit. But he tends to choose people that are kind of on the fringe or that are not noticed as much, kind of the plain Janes.
Yeah. Like a girl that works at a photo place and
the photo store
lady, a girl that's like
She's living on the street.
But
She's
yeah,
kind
a
of
runaway.
homeless, but yeah, she's kind of got, it's kind of her choice, although it's clear that she's not happy with her choice.
Yeah.
But yeah. And this movie just screams 2000s. Like they have a Rob Zombie remix of Dragula, which you've got actually, I think, 2 Rob Zombie songs in this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sneaker Pimps. They've got Portishead. You know, the soundtrack's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Yep.
But it just feels very 2000.
Really odd scene of Keanu Reeves dancing
It was a
a
little
couple of
strange.
times. He danced a few times in this movie. Like,
Which-
I don't know if that's his serial killer, MO or what. Like, he's got some weird thing with dancing with people and dancing by himself. And
Like Billy Idol.
yeah.
And this is before he got injured, so he's, in full force as far as his ability to move and everything. So maybe that was the other reason why. Now, we just watched a movie from 2005 called Stay
Yes.
2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And this felt a lot like that to me, in the tone, the editing,
Yeah.
the kind of slow motion stuff.
Yeah. Although I feel like Stay was a little bit better of a movie.
I mean, the cast was equally as impressive.
Yeah. It's kind of nice when we're getting like, I don't want to say that, not to like discredit any of the other actors that we're watching in any other movies, but sometimes it's refreshing. We watch a lot of B movies that we don't know anybody that's in them, or like there's just like one rogue like person that they're like, oh, we've got a little bit of a budget, let's throw it on and make this guy, on our movie, or this girl or whatever. So it's kind of refreshing sometimes to see like, oh, Keanu Reeves is in this movie. People who are like more seasoned actors and
Yes.
stuff like that. Like I said, James Spader. You know what you're going to expect then. When you're watching something like that, because you know what his style is.
Kind of that Christopher Walken-y type of thing.
Yeah.
I also thought it was interesting that they were in Chicago, which Ernie Hudson, who was in The Crow, that was filmed in and around the Chicago, as was The Matrix. So I wrote, onions that make you fart big time, even though that was not discussed
Sure
in this
do.
film, and it should have been. And it's true. It felt like a time capsule, which I'm not complaining about that.
No.
I was a little surprised that in a city the size of Chicago, and they had the full resources of the media, who were all capitulant. They were all like, hey, we'll show this photo. We'll talk about these people. That somebody somewhere wouldn't have been like, oh, hey, that's Jimmy Jojo that's down at the Crab Shack.
I mean, it just kind of goes to show you, though, that not everybody's paying attention to like all those kind of things.
That's true.
There was no social media, right? There was no Facebook. There was no, texting. There was no cell phones, really. I mean,
It was
there
pretty
was
new still. Yeah.
early cell phone stuff. I didn't have a cell phone in 2000. Yeah, you did, because you're rich.
I was not rich.
I might have had a prepaid cell phone or something
Definitely
like that, but
no. I didn't want one. I was like,
couldn't afford. I was.
people had cell phones were doctors and drug dealers, in my opinion, back then. Yet I had one, and I was neither.
I think I was. Well, when it was filmed, I
You had
was
a pager.
probably 20.
Didn't you?
So I had a pager when I was in high school.
Yeah, the pager.
But yeah, it's it's not surprising to me that somebody wasn't paying attention, because they're all living their own lives. Chicago's a big city. Finally, one of the girls, the one that works at the
photo store.
One girl's
what they
like,
did.
you just missed her. She was like literally just down there at the food court or whatever. So, if you're working your job and you're not looking at flyers, I mean, I don't look at every flyer that's up, around the thing.
That's
And
true.
I'm not always watching every news station either. So,
That's true. That's fair.
yeah.
And the way that Keanu murders people in this is he uses piano wire, and he tends to kind of, if he has time, he will toy with his victims for a while. But we made a lot of piano wire jokes, probably not the best taste, but I wrote insert piano wire jokes here.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the jokes were, but
I don't either.
we got jokes at the time. I don't know how much we want to get into the ending of the film, but that
Not great.
last sequence, when you have, of course, you're going to have the climax between James Spader and Keanu Reeves, possibly another person or two. It was 2000, and the effects were bad.
Yeah, they were.
Like, if you look at The Matrix, which kind of rewrote the rules on special effects and everything anyway, which is a year before this, it's clear they must not have had a big budget or a very good special effects team, because it felt like
Yeah, like they
video game quality.
blowing stuff up and it looked like a video game. Yeah.
I'm like, what are they using, an Amiga? They're like, because
Yeah.
like the cops get blown up and half the building gets blown out and people are flying through the air, and
it just doesn't. Yeah.
we were laughing about it because it did not. It was supposed to be this big climactic kind of thing, and it just felt.
Yeah.
It ruined it.
Yeah. I even said it's pretty flat. That's what I said. The whole movie's kind of flat.
It is very, and that ending did not make you go, woo, I'm glad that the things happened, and that's good.
I also thought that I didn't really like Keanu being the bad guy, and I thought it would be almost better if they would have switched the roles.
Oh.
Like if James Spader was the serial killer and Keanu Reeves was the other one, because I feel like Keanu Reeves is more could play like a little sad dude, like
sad Keanu with his sandwich on the bench, like the meme.
Yeah. Like and James Spader, I feel like has like a darker side to him, so
that's a good casting
I
flip.
really feel like if they would have flipped those roles, it would have been much, much more effective.
Give Keanu a beard and like he's kind of disheveled.
He already had disheveled hair and like that kind of thing. So
and he was a little bit heavier than normal for him.
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like it would have been better.
That's really smart, because then he could have been minimal dialogue. He could have been more like down and out kind of thing. And yeah, James Spader would have murdered that, no pun intended. But he would have done a really good job. And we do have to mention, honorable mention, and I forgot to get the actor's name before we started. I'll put it up here. I'll put his picture up here. But the actor that played the other cop in this.
Oh, yeah. He was great. Cop,
yeah. I mean, he's been in a ton of stuff. He's a well-known character actor. And if you've seen That Thing You Do, he's got a really nice camper. But he was against type, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But he sold it.
Yeah.
Like, he was a high point.
Yeah. I liked him. Like, I kept saying, I was like, man, if like you want anybody on your team, that guy's the guy. I mean, he was, way, way above and beyond. I feel like in his acting and stuff like that for it. It just, he stole the show.
He was an odd choice, but boy, like you believed it. Like he was on the phone during a car chase and he's like, no, keep on talking. I'm just chasing this guy that's running from the cops. And then he's like, hold on a second. And he runs and leaps over like this little whatever on the dock and lands on the guy and then steps on him and he's like, all right, go on. What were you saying?
Yeah. And he's not some like buff dude. And he believed the FBI agent, like, I mean, he's an ex-FBI agent,
right.
But like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you've got a cop who's like, okay, buddy, like, I'm not going to listen to you. And I'm going to be the dumb guy at the end. Cause like, you're right. And I'm wrong. No, he was like on board the whole time, like really helpful, like going around and, paper, look like with the flyers and stuff like
right.
that, trying to like, case areas. And I don't know. He was just a good guy to have on your side.
Breath of fresh air.
And
yeah, he could have been like, you're my main suspect because you know way too much. But instead he's like, you know way too much. Therefore, you must be telling the truth.
Exactly.
And then he punched a guy and then he walked away. Yeah. No, that didn't happen.
I know, but
there was a lot of bad Vietnamese food also. But anyway.
Do you want to know my final thoughts, or do you want to do your final thoughts?
I started. Why don't you give your final thoughts
All
first?
Right. So my final thoughts are: this movie is definitely it felt dated. Sometimes you can watch a movie that feels retro without being outdated. This movie is definitely pretty predictable, and
pretty predictable.
So, yep.
My final thoughts are: I am shocked this was made at all.
The end.
And I really, really do wish that they would have done what you said. I think if that would have been the case and that would have been the film we got, I think this might be something that stood more of a test of time, even with the bad effects and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would have been, and the relationship, not that there was a relationship between James Spader and Marissa Tomei, but even
it would have felt different.
Relationship between the two of them would have felt a little bit more genuine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
So, yeah. Thanks. Very rare that I've got
smart wife.
I've got good movie things.
Oh, she's full of baloney. She's got lots of good stuff.
All right. So on a scale of out of 5, I guess we'll just say piano wires.
All right. Well, for the cast, that's really all I'm basing this on because the story, the movie, everything about it was overall mediocre at best. But the music, I forgot that. The music and the cast, 1 out of 5.
I gave it a 1 out of 5, and I literally wrote because of the cast.
Yeah, I forgot about the music when I said that, but
We're
we'll
simpatico.
include the music in there too because it was a good, happy place. So
We're simpatico.
muy simpatico.
Mhm. All right. So if you don't want to watch this movie that we're going to blow up, and you'll probably do the same kind of effects that they had because we don't have a high budget for this show,
Maybe even better.
what should they watch?
Oh,
Here, I'm gonna blow it up.
So I thought about this a lot because there's a lot of movies in this vein, but ultimately I wanted to go with kind of top tier for this genre, and I went with 1986's Manhunter. Michael Mann, the first in the series of Thomas Harris books about Hannibal Lecter. This is number 1, the first adaptation of it, I should say, that stars William, I forgot his last name, and Brian Cox is playing Hannibal Lecter.
Nice.
And he's using Hannibal Lecter to track down the Red Dragon killer.
Yeah.
And the guy that plays him is a well-known character actor that you know if you saw him. He out of character for him, but he did a real nice job. But anyway, it's one of those movies you said timeless. That Michael Mann's films generally are pretty timeless. This feels pretty 80s, but in the best way possible. Like it's just
great.
If you've never seen Manhunter, highly recommend it. Any Michael Mann film is good, but Manhunter's one of the best. So
awesome.
there you go.
All right, what are we watching next week?
Oh yeah, I forgot. We got another movie coming up. Things are happening. And this one, even though there's nobody in it really that I think we really know too much, if I remember correctly.
You're excited about it?
I'm curious.
Oh.
So this is from 2006.
Plasterhead?
Plasterhead.
What the heck?
Also from Buried Treasure.
Buried Treasure?
Hidden Treasure, sorry.
True Evil has no face, it says. All right. I mean, it's got some official selections at the Atlanta Horror Film Festival and the official selection at the Evil City Film Festival.
Don't know either of those, but hey.
Plasterhead.
The cover alone is worth the price of admission, in my opinion.
Okay. It's got some crazy looking scenes on the back. I'm going to read the synopsis.
Let's do it.
Headed to Miami to celebrate winter break, 4 college students from New Jersey take a detour into the bowels of rural West Virginia.
Oh.
There, the unwitting friends uncover a grotesque legend that stains the fabric of a sleepy backwoods town. The legend of truck driver Ray Williams, brutally beaten by a band of locals after stopping off in a town for a drink. His body left for dead in an empty cornfield and never found. They have a name for Williams now, Plasterhead. As these teens will soon learn, true evil has no face.
I've seen this cover 100 times, and I've always been kind of remotely curious as to whether it's any good. So when I saw it out in the wild, I'm like, it was like $3. I'm like, yeah. Or maybe even $2. I'm like, we got to get this.
Plasterhead.
It looks like it's right in our proverbial wheelhouse.
I can't even open it.
You can't open it.
No, one of those ones that are weird.
Oh,
it's got clippies.
Yeah, those clippies. They've gotten me a lot of times.
Clippies.
A lot of
All right. Well, Plasterhead's in here, so that's good.
We open it up and there's
Nothing.
The movie at all.
Yeah. Well, as always, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you every single week hanging out with us or watching us on your own leisure, either whatever you guys decide to do. But until next time,
keep it cheap and creepy.
Bye.
Doesn't mean you should go chasing the dead.
It may be your robot, but it's my house.
I want to get a close look at these sharks.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, I'll be careful.
I'm sorry.